up, guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're going to be looking at the Dark Knight Returns Batman figure from the Batman Unlimited line of figures. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of this whole fat Batman design in the movies or in the figure, but I have to say it grew on me after I watched the movies. After a while I kind of decided maybe it's not so bad, and the same thing is happening with the figure. I didn't care for it at first, but there's really not a whole lot I have to say that's negative about this figure. I thought the nose was going to look kind of pig-ish when I saw some of the earlier pictures, but it's really not that bad in person. I mean, it does kind of stick down a little bit, but not so much so that it's a problem. And the big body is perfectly fine with me. The only complaint I have with the body is that the hands are a little bit small and the arms are just a little bit short. It's not horrible, it's not going to be any kind of deal breaker, but the hands could be a little bit bigger, and I think we'd be much better off. But other than that, I think it's a really good figure, and I have some really nice things to say about it. He does come with an accessory, which is just a plain old generic batarang. No detail on that really at all, other than it says China on it. As far as the figure goes, it's standard Motu Classics articulation, or DCUC articulation for the most part. We have the head on a ball peg. The head does sit kind of low from the factory, which is right like that. So you can just pop the head off, actually. It's pretty easy. That shows you the articulation. The ball peg actually does move pretty well. But what I suggest is when you push the head down on, leave it up on the ball peg just a little bit to give it some more height, and it looks a lot better, I think. So that's the neck articulation. The shoulder is a standard ball hinge with the swivel bicep, single jointed elbow, and then wrist rotation. Same thing on both sides. We have the standard ab crunch with a waist twist. Now the hips are almost like Marvel Legends hips. You can see that they're ball hinges with a thigh swivel, and that pretty much hides the articulation really well. It's a T-joint ball hinge, so it works really nicely, and the underwear or the trunks on Batman are a softer material that float with the belt, just like Play Arts figures. So that's not going to impede the articulation at all, so that's pretty good. And the hips look much better this way. He has the standard single jointed knee and a top of the boot shin swivel and an ankle pivot, which actually works better than it looks like it would, so that's fine by me. And just the tiniest bit of an ankle rocker. If you trim that boot a little bit in here, it'll work a little better for you, but it is there. The cape is a softer material, and it has just a little bit of texture on it. No shading at all, but it is textured. None of the other parts are, except for maybe the trunks a little bit. It's hard to say, and I don't want to sit there going like that, so we're just going to leave it at that. Good sculpt work in the belt, good sculpt work overall. There's no shading anywhere though, but the paint apps that are there are pretty good. The bat is nice and lined up well. No embossing on that though, which is kind of a bummer, but it's not a big deal. He stands about 7 inches tall, so pretty much in line with the DCUC figure, so that's good with me. So I'm going to say I recommend this figure. It's a really cool Batman figure, and if you're a fan of the Dark Knight Returns movies or comics or any of that good stuff, then you will be happy with this figure. I am, and I think you should go get it. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, more custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.